Britain and the US are withdrawing some staff and their families from Ukraine over fears Russia will invade any day. It comes as Boris Johnson warned Vladimir Putin any incursions would be a disastrous step for Russia, who run the risk of creating another Chechnya, the civil war that went on for years, drew in thousands of Russian troops, and was disastrous for Russia in terms of its military reputation.
Invading Ukraine, from a Russian perspective, is going to be a painful, violent, and bloody business. And I think it's very important that people in Russia understand that this could be a new Chechnya.
The Prime Minister said the intelligence paints a very gloomy picture, but is optimistic conflict could still be averted through diplomacy. The Sun talked to British strategic policy expert James Rogers, who doesn't have much confidence Putin will back down.
How do they de-escalate without looking weak or foolish? Not only internationally, but also, perhaps even more importantly for Mr. Putin, in light in the eyes of the Russian people and his supporters in Russia. We have to hope that he either de-escalates on his own accord, or our deterrence measures are sufficient in terms of the threats we've made, whether it's on sanctions or cutting Russia off from the international financial system or providing Ukraine with far more weapons in the event of a Russian invasion, that he will ultimately back down. Otherwise, he may have no option other than to move.
Joe Biden is reported to be considering sending 50,000 US troops to Eastern Europe to counter any Russian offensive. Extra ships and planes could also be sent in a strong warning to Putin to back down. Denmark and Spain are also sending planes and ships to Eastern Europe, and France has put troops on standby as NATO bolsters its deterrence. 20 Russian naval vessels set out into the Baltic Sea on Monday for drills. As Russia hit back with a warning, it would respond appropriately to any US deployment on its doorstep. The Kremlin has denied any plans for military action in Ukraine, despite satellite photos of troops and tanks inside Belarus within striking distance of Kiev.
And the main line in Geneva has been, from the Russian standpoint, that Russia has no plans to invade the Ukraine, where there's insurmountable evidence that that is the opposite of what is happening here. Could you explain why the Russians take such a ridiculous almost stance?
It's just part of their strategic narrative projection. I mean, the whole approach is based on the projection of lies, misinformation, just absolute nonsense. They have, in a way, a lot of material weakness. Their economy, as we said, is significantly smaller than even large NATO allies, let alone the entire bloc. So they have to make up for that, and they do it quite successfully through these forms of discursive or narrative projection. So it's designed to get us talking about these issues on their terms. They're shaping the parameters of the debate, which means that we can't then mobilise to basically say, no, everything you're doing there is wrong, it's invalid, it's illegitimate, and then to push back at them.
Ukrainian volunteers have been training for guerrilla attacks to resist an invading army and are ready to, quote, tear Russians apart with their bare hands.
Russia still insists it has no intention of invading Ukraine, even though there is mounting evidence they're just inches away from an attack. Valerie Brown, The Sun.